X-Men Apocalypse. This is the third movie of the newer trilogy. You got First Class, Days of Future Past, and now Apocalypse. This movie, I kind of had like a mini review of the trailer earlier on, I guess like a month ago, 2 months ago, I don't remember. And one of the biggest issues that I was afraid of is Jennifer Lawrence's role, really in the whole X-Men franchise. If you guys aren't familiar, she's in all the new trilogy, and she wasn't that big of an actress when First Class came out. And then Hunger Games, you know, her winning an Oscar for Silver Lining Playbook, which is a good movie. Don't get me wrong, it's actually one of my, I don't want to say favorite movies, but I like the movie. She's a great actress and everything like that. But it seems like she is kind of stuck being Mystique, and because she's such a popular actress now, like everyone knows who she is. The franchise seems to be bending to her will, and you know, this is gonna be spoiler free. I'm not gonna really say it, but she isn't that big of a role as I thought she was gonna be in this movie. But the thing that does piss me off is everything seems to be very convenient for her character. If anyone's even slightly familiar with the X-Men comic books or the cartoon, Mystique wasn't that big of a character. She is a villain, and she's consistently a villain. In certain adaptations, she is the mother of Nightcrawler. The problem with all this is that she's such an essential role to this franchise, to the point where like it's almost holding the franchise back. Where in reality, like the people who are the main characters of the X-Men universe are Xavier, Magneto, Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Gambit and Rogue. You know, the people you're actually familiar with. Those are the main people, and then you have your huge big baddies, Dark Phoenix, Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister. Those are the type of villains that you end up. Oh, of course, Magneto, Brotherhood of Mutants. Those are the main villains in the X-Men comic book universe. You know, which translates pretty well to the cartoon universe. And so, with that being said, we get Apocalypse. We get, for me, one of my personal favorite, or my favorite X-Men villain of all time. And that's because I'm a 90s kid, and I watched the cartoons, and they were awesome, they're badass, and Apocalypse was really cool in it. And it was all about like the mutants banding together to fight this huge villain who's a huge giant threat. And I think one of the weakest points of this movie is that Apocalypse is definitely a threat, but he's not as big as a threat as he should be. And one of the problems with that is Days of Future Past. They did the whole end of the world thing. And like, you know, the Sentinels kicked the shit out of everyone. Sentinels won. They win. And then so they have to go back in time to prevent that from happening because Mystique messes up. This movie is all about defeating Apocalypse. Apocalypse gaining his Four Horsemen. It really seems like the Four Horsemen that he gets, besides Magneto. I'll get into Magneto in a little bit. So you have Psylocke, you have Archangel, or Angel turning into Archangel, and then you have... Who the hell am I forgetting? Holy shit. And Magneto, Psylocke, Archangel. Yeah, that's how memorable that character is. And I saw the movie I saw the movie like 3 days ago. I saw it opening night. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate this movie. I actually kind of enjoyed this movie, but the problem is when you really do like a movie and you're a fan of the characters. When you're a fan of the characters, you're a little bit more critical. You're a little bit more critical than you should be. And the thing is, couldn't help but be that critical with this movie, specifically because the pacing is pretty good the first half of the movie, but the second half of the movie seems very rushed. You get introduction of Scott Summers, Cyclops, Havoc's younger brother. You get Jean Grey, played by Sansa Stark, and you get introduced to these fan favorites. And Jean Grey, I've never been that big of a love for her, simply because she's always seems to be this like weakling, and then all of a sudden she becomes this incredibly powerful, overpowered creature. But you know, I was kind of one. You know, Sophie Turner didn't do a bad job in this. Cyclops, on the other hand, just seemed kind of meh. Cyclops is the leader besides Xavier, is the original leader of the original X-Men team back in the 60s. He's kind of a big deal, and in this movie I feel like they don't do him justice. Quicksilver's back, freaking amazing, honestly. Just how in Days of Future Past, one of everyone's fan favorite scenes is Quicksilver just, defeating the guards. You get two incredible Quicksilver speed scenes, and that's one thing I will say about Bryan Singer. He knows how to do speed very well, to the point where one of my favorite shows, The Flash, does it well. That show does it well, but Quicksilver's scenes are just better. It's also a higher budget, so I'll give it that. But Quicksilver, who I've never really cared for in almost any adaptation, he just seemed like an ass, who is done very well here, and that's how it should be. And the reason why you connect with this character in this movie is because you've seen him in Days of Future Past, and so you slightly learn his personality, and he's more fleshed out, and that's why people like him. The problem with this movie is kind of the opposite of what Captain America Civil War did. Captain America Civil War, you had like a bazillion movies to lead up and build and character development and emotionally attach yourself to all these different superheroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so when they all come in together and you add a couple more people, it seems more natural. The problem with X-Men Apocalypse and the X-Men franchise in particular is they just shoe in everyone all at once, and it was the same thing they did in the X-Men 3 Last Stand. This movie's significantly better. I say this movie's better than Batman v Superman also, but this movie, it almost seems like it's a great movie edited with a sloppy movie at the same time. It really seems like Bryan Singer doesn't know how to really trim the fat too much. Another disappointing thing is that Jubilee is barely in this movie. The whole marketing campaign is showing Jubilee in an authentic costume, pretty authentic costume, and then she has like one or two lines, if even. Come on, you don't bring a fan favorite just to be in the background. I think Oscar Isaac did a decent job with Apocalypse. The biggest thing that everyone's going to complain about is his height. He's 5'9", I'm 5'8", I'm not that tall of a person either. The thing is, everyone's seen the Lord of the Rings movies. The hobbits look really small and regular sized people look really tall. Use camera angles, put them on a freaking box, like you'll be fine. Apocalypse, the whole point of Apocalypse is supposed to be very intimidating. And one of those things to make someone a little bit more intimidating is being a little bit taller. Like, I did not have any complaints with the makeup. A lot of people will have complaints with makeup. I thought it was fun, as realistic as you're gonna get with an Apocalypse thing. There are definitely plot holes and loopholes in this movie. The saving grace of this movie, what makes this movie honestly made me enjoy this movie, and I probably will go see it again. I'm sorry for just bashing it for pretty much 7 minutes. But Magneto, Michael Fassbender is a great actor, and thank God he's in this. There's a slight overacting on his part, very slight for maybe 30 seconds, but I'll forgive it simply because he's kind of the reason why this movie kind of works. He's definitely the best part of this movie. Him and James McAvoy, who are brilliant actors. Everyone else brings their okay acting game, but they really are the glue of this franchise. And when they focus more on them, the movie gets better. And the reason why I'm gonna give the movie, I'll give the movie a B-, maybe a C+, a strong C+. Give it a B- is to be nice, I guess. The reason I give it a B- is because at the end of the day, there were parts in this movie that were very fun. The Quicksilver part, there's a scene with Jean Grey at the end, which I felt like could have done a little bit better, but I did enjoy it. All of Magneto, boss. I did like James McAvoy's stuff like that, but Apocalypse was somewhat of a disappointing villain, but at the same time, I didn't have my expectations super high, so it didn't incredibly disappoint me. Four Horsemen, it just seemed like, the first people that they ran into were going to be the Four Horsemen. Storm, I was forgetting about Storm. Yeah, we get Storm. Besides the fact that she had an accent and had white hair, kind of, there really wasn't much to her character. The movie was way more violent than I expected it to be. I liked how violent the movie was, because that's how it should have been. But it's probably one of the more violent X-Men movies. There is definitely, you know, some servicing scenes, which I definitely enjoy. I'm a fan. I like the X-Men franchise. I just felt like everything could have been executed a little bit better. Specifically in the beginning, this isn't really a spoiler, but there's a scene where you're seeing like sunlight go through a pyramid, and it's a long kind of scene. And the only reason, like I say, that's a long scene, it was cool, I enjoyed it, but like if they edited that scene a little bit down a little bit more, they could have more time to, you know, for the finale, because the second half of the movie definitely seems like the last 30 minutes of the movie definitely seem rushed. Majority of the movie is the X-Men gaining people, and then Apocalypse gaining people, and then it's all this gaining of people, and then they fight at the end, you know, and then it just like ends. There is an after the credits scene in this movie, which is pretty good, but like you have to really know your shit to actually understand it. I actually had to look it up because I wasn't that familiar with it, but there is an after the credits scene. Overall, this movie, you're gonna like it somewhat. If you're an X-Men fan, this is the 9th movie, so you can't really expect too much. But at the same time, I did enjoy it. It could have been a lot better. Magneto and Xavier were great, like they always are, because they cast good actors. Jennifer Lawrence seems to be kind of phoning it in, along with a lot of the other actors. I did not like the actor who played Cyclops. Just didn't do it for me. And then Oscar Isaac, you know, did the best with what he was given. Honestly, I think a lot of the problems with this movie was the directing. Overall, though, like the visuals, some people are gonna be upset with like all the CGI in it. I kind of liked it. I enjoyed it. Overall, if you're a fan, you're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be a part of my Blu-ray collection, but at the same time, I just collect everything, so it doesn't mean shit. Well, thank you for watching. Hopefully, you enjoyed my review. If you disagreed with me, let me know. Let me show me your points. Like, let me know why you disagree with me, or why you really liked the movie, or why you didn't like the movie. I give the movie a B- simply because there is a majority of it that I did like. It's definitely better than Batman v Superman. But what didn't help the movie is that Marvel Civil War came out the same month, and showing a, you know, Marvel Civil War was amazing, and this movie really can't compete with that. It's you know, having filet mignon and then having McDonald's chicken nuggets right afterwards. You know, chicken nuggets can taste like ass, but they're still tasty. I'll see you guys later.